You have several hostiles converging on your position. Get the hell out of there. Gatman, you are green light. Target is 2 clicks south. Use thermal identification. Heavy resistance is expected.
Let's move.
Use extreme caution.
Contact ahead. Go.
We need a clean identification. Do not engage the target until we have verification. Great picture, we have it. That's him, you are clear.
Execute.
You have several hostiles converging on your position. Get the hell out of there.
What is going on, my beautiful LARPers and LARPettes? Today, I'm going to go over how to stream Netflix directly to your firearm. Just kidding, guys. This is the PARD USA Sphinx 640 thermal unit right here. And there is a predecessor to this one, which is called the Sphinx 384, I believe. And the biggest difference between that one and this one is, one, the resolution, and two, the price. This one is a little bit more pricey, but it is a better, it does have a better resolution compared to the other one. So this one's a little bit better than that one. And doesn't this look like a freaking TV on your gun? Like, you have a literal phone. Like, let me grab my cell phone. My cell phone is literally the size of this unit here. So you're essentially just having a cell phone mounted to your rifle or your pistol, or I guess this is a little flux pistol PDW. It'll look pretty cool if I guess you're shooting around with it. It's just kind of completely in your face. But anyways, this little TV screen packs a huge punch. I'm gonna go over the details on this unit here, but I'm gonna only pick out some key features that really stand out to me, just because if I were to nerd out over this thing on this video, it'll probably take me an hour, and I don't think you guys want to watch that. I think you guys just want to be entertained, right, and see what new is out there that you can slap on your rifle or your pistol, or just in general use in daily life activities. Now, why would a average Joe civilian like me even want a thermal unit here? I guess the first one is going to be, it's freaking cool. Why would you not want a giant TV screen on the end of your gun where you can show your friends, like, hey, I can see heat signatures all over the place, and you know what? I can also use this to shoot them with it. I think that's just a really cool option to just have on any gun, or even just a handheld. This thing comes with a little handheld handle here, and this has a battery on it which charges the onboard battery here. So this has two batteries. This is an 18650. I forgot the battery that's in there, but on this one, but this one is bigger than that one. But this one, once you mount it on here, it does charge that. It does come with a 1913 pick rail here. So why the heck not? Why wouldn't you want to put it on this little flux here, or on a rifle? Or as you've seen in the intro there, I put it on the side of my little B&T TP9, and it looked basically like a heartbeat sensor. It looked like it, but it wasn't. But with a screen this big, who wouldn't want to do something like Call of Duty? That intro, I did take a good amount of time filming that. I wanted to do something different for you guys where it looked kind of like a movie. And yeah, Call of Duty, I got all LARPed out on that one. It was a fun video to make. So in general, this is just plain fun, guys. Now, the next reason why somebody would own thermal is obviously for hunting, right? So probably about 90% of the people who own thermal go out and they go hunt pretty often. I have a couple buddies that are out in Texas that's all they do. They just hunt religiously with thermal at nighttime, and they're just hunting pigs and coyotes all night long. I think out there in Texas, correct me if I'm wrong, but some ranchers even pay you to go onto their property and hunt those things down. I also own about 40 acres, and I don't have any livestock right now, but it's good for me to get familiar with units like this, or just thermal units in general, because I do plan on getting pigs, turkeys, chickens especially, goats. stuff like that. Make my own little gat ranch, you know. And I know I'm going to have issues with predators. I'm going to have issues with coyotes, especially, maybe some raccoons, maybe some bobcats, who knows, a mountain lion here or there. And I want to be able to see and identify what I'm going to take out, so that way they don't take out what I love, my livestock. So that is another option to own thermal. Even though you don't necessarily need it at the moment, it is a process to get used to. You don't really just slap it on your gun and just start shooting. There's a lot of quirks that you gotta figure out on this thing, or any thermal in general, so that way you can start making those precise shots. Now, the last thing I want to mention before the details on the Sphinx here is it a good option for home defense? Is thermal in general a good option for home defense? You guys put in the comments below if you would even rock a thermal unit for home defense. Me, I am big on night vision. I nerd out over night vision. I think having night vision in conjunction with thermal is probably the greatest superpower a human can have. But when it comes to home defense, I think even night vision can even be not a good option, just because it will take time to set the unit up. Like, your night vision isn't sitting on your counter on 24/7 waiting for somebody to break in, you know. Like, I even have caps on here that I got to take off, so I would need to have this on my helmet, turn it on, take the caps off, grab my gun, adjust to the room. As far as the focus goes, it's a lot of work to get to my night vision if somebody's breaking into my house, and who knows where they're at. They can be at my door. I just don't have the time to put that on. But granted, if I did have the time, that's the way I wanted to go 100%. It's just I would want night vision, so that way I can have the upper hand. Thermal, though, I think it's also cool, but I don't think it's really an option to keep on your rifle or on your pistol, if you're going to put this on a pistol, and I'll get into that in a second. So some of the key features on the PARD Sphinx: you obviously have a gigantic screen. This is my favorite thing about the Sphinx itself. I don't really see a whole lot of thermal units where it comes with a giant screen. I usually have, I had a handheld unit that I sold because it was kind of annoying to have a little handheld that had a horrible refresh rate. If you guys don't know what refresh rate is, it's when you're looking around, it'll like lag. So for gamers there, lag. It lags. Every unit, every thermal unit has a certain lag time, I guess. So you're looking around, it'll like stop, and you can be over here, and then it'll refresh over here, and you would have a dead space between here and here that you didn't see. You would have to kind of wait till it lags and then comes back and refreshes itself, and you're able to see what's on screen again. Now, this one is not like, I've had it in my hands this whole time, and I think it refreshed like one time. So I really appreciate the fast refresh rate on this, but also how long it takes to refresh, as far as like from when it refreshes the first time to the second time. Now, again, I'm not trying to nerd out. You guys probably know all that wordage, I guess. Go on PARD USA's YouTube, and they have a great video describing like millikelvin and NETD and all that crazy stuff. I do love that I don't have eye fatigue. If you guys know night vision or thermal in general, if you have something up to one eye and you have it for a long period of time, when you take off that optic that you're looking through, it literally feels like you have light sizzled into your eyeball. So it takes longer for me to adjust to the nighttime with this eye, since this one was just complete in black darkness. With this unit here, I don't have that issue. I can very well see with both of my eyes wide open, and when I put down the gun or I put down the optic, my eyes adjust to the dark completely fine. Now, with that giant screen, I'm going to get into the downside for having it for self-defense, I guess. So it does have 6 different lighting options, where it kind of goes really dim to super bright. I can have it at the dimmest option and I still see some light basically projecting onto my face, because obviously you need to see what you're looking at on the screen, because if not, it's just going to be completely dark. But I think that can very well give you away if you're in a self-defense scenario where you got to clear your house and you're coming around a corner or something and there's a giant light projecting on your face. So that, I probably would not use this unit for a self-defense home weapon unit. I would kind of go with a like the PARD Ocelot, where you can have a little rubber attachment to it. Again, I'm going to get into those units within the couple months. I'm going to show you guys a lot of PARD thermal stuff, but there is one where it kind of covers the light, where you can have your eyeball up to it and you can't see any light. But again, I'll get into the downsides and the upsides to having that for maybe some home defense scenarios. But on the upside of having a bright screen, you're able to see a ton of detail on this thing. I think it's great to have for every other reason that it was developed for other than home defense, right? So you're able to have a bright screen at nighttime and shoot something 400, 500 yards away, and you could basically identify whatever the heck is coming onto the screen here. So bright screen is a huge plus to have on this thermal unit, and that's the biggest turn on I've had, is having a giant bright screen. Another feature, you can change the reticles on here. You have, I don't know, like 6 or 7 different reticle options, and you could also change the colors on here. And zeroing this thing is extremely easy. You pretty much just, there's a menu in here where you can just kind of move the reticle around and set your zero. And it also has a built-in rangefinder, which I think is really freaking cool. It gets a little bit more complex than that though, because you can kind of like set your dope and it'll kind of when you click the range find portion, it'll kind of adjust your reticle to the dope that you set. It's a lot that goes into it, but it's a really, really cool feature. Like I said, go ahead and check out that PARD video and it'll go deeper into detail on that. You have different color palette options. So you got like, what is this? This is like that typical Predator vision here. I can't see anything because you're basically facing a cold wall with guns over there, but Alien versus Predator stuff. You got white hot, you got sky, I don't know what that, the edge mode is a really cool option. So I'm going to show you a little video here of the edge mode, but edge mode kind of makes it look like a drawing, right? Where everything that kind of has heat on it or some type of temperature change, you can see that it's a kind of outline. I think that's my favorite option. And then you got black hot, red hot, and then that Predator vision, I guess. It also has onboard recording, and one of the features I want to point out on that is it has recording where if you forget to turn on your unit and you fire some shots, it'll basically record for like 20 seconds or so, something like that. But it'll sense the vibration of the shot and it'll record, which I think is really, really cool, because sometimes you probably won't have time to bring up your gun and hit record before you make that critical shot. Say there's a deer or something out there, or there's a coyote that you got to take out, pull that up, fire, and it'll record for like 20 seconds, which I think is awesome. It takes pictures, it takes video, and it also has a cool Wi-Fi mode where you can have your phone out. And as you saw in that intro, my buddy Taylor, and by the way, Taylor John Smith, my really good friend, known him for many years. If you've seen Warzone, you probably recognized him from that movie. He was one of the soldiers in that movie, Warzone. If you haven't seen Warzone, it's a good movie. But thank you so much, Taylor, for coming out and filming some video with me. But in that video, you see Taylor come out with my cell phone, and he's kind of showing me, and I'm kind of doing this number here where I can't see the screen on there, and he's kind of showing me here, and I just pop off a shot and take out the dude that's in the house. So I think that's a really cool option, just for the fun aspect of it, that you don't really have to look at the screen and you can look at the phone. Another thing that you can use that for is if your buddy is with you and you guys are out hunting or something like that, you can have an extra set of eyes to look at stuff. So maybe you might not catch something that they do. I think it's really cool to have that Wi-Fi option. A couple other cool features, has this little lever here that's built in for basically your focus, so you can move that lever up and down. So if you have it on a rifle or something, you can use your thumb to put it up and down. When I had it on the side of my B&T TP9, it was super easy to get to all the buttons and stuff. And Just for your information, if you're mounting this up and down, it really isn't made for that. So the reticles are all kind of this way, right? So when you're trying to zero in a gun when it's mounted on the side there, it's kind of difficult, and then it's kind of weird because the reticles don't go vertically. So I wouldn't recommend keeping it like that. I just wanted to do that for video purposes because it looked cool. You also have a onboard light, which I think is cool. So if I double tap that, you have a little light there, which is like amber in color. It's not bright. I mean, it's gonna let you see at night. So maybe you're walking around at night and don't want to trip over something. You're basically gonna be able to see what you're gonna trip on or gonna step over, but it's not something where I can pull this out and identify something maybe 100 yards away. It's not that bright. You also have a laser here. So if you can see, I don't wanna mess up my camera, but there is a little onboard laser as well. Let me see. Yeah, you can see it there. This laser I did not test out, but it's awesome that I can actually just have it on this little PDW here, on this little flux defense pistol, and have a laser to shoot. So if I'm shooting under nods, I can very well use this without looking at the thermal unit. I wish it was an IR laser, but it is pretty cool that I can use this for identification purposes, right? So say somebody doesn't have thermal and they're like, hey, what do you see out there? And you're kind of like, hey, there's something out there, there's a coyote out there, and you're kind of trying to point at it with the laser. It's like, it's right there, you know, like right there. I don't know if a coyote is smart enough to identify this laser and run off, but it is cool that I can use this to point out things. It has a built-in microphone, and if you hit that record button, it will get audio, which I think is cool. And you also have 6 hours of battery life on this. I didn't have any issues when I was out filming. I think I had it on for like a good 2 hours or 3 hours. Didn't die on me. And especially if you have that handle on there, that rubberized handle, it will charge this battery up. So 6 hours is, I think, a good amount of time to have on this unit here. Now, the last two key features that I want to point out is, one, how does it handle recoil, and two, how durable is it, right? So the recoil, I had it on a 300 blackout. I was just shooting subsonics out of that, and then on my TP9, which I was also shooting full power, and then not full power, I was supers and subs on that. But it handled those perfectly fine. But apparently this is rated to 338 Winchester Magnum, I believe, which I don't think you would have any issues with shooting your 308 or your 6.5 Creedmoor and all that stuff on this guy. And this also does have a IP67 rating on it. So essentially, dust, dirt, it's not going to make its way inside of here and mess up the sensors. Obviously, you don't want to get dirt and all that stuff on the front of this sensor where it's going to cover anything. So just don't be running around and fall into the mud, guys. But if you do fall into a mud puddle full of water, don't worry about it, because this thing is sealed and it is rated for, I guess you can have it submerged for about 30 minutes under 3 feet of water. So I think that's correct, but IP67 rated. That pretty much does it for all the key features that really stand out to me on this unit, guys. I think thermal is awesome to have, and it's just a lot of fun to have, just even if you're not even shooting at things, right? If you just wanted to go handheld and just survey your property, or just look around and see what's crawling around in your neighborhood, right? So having thermal, I don't think is going to be a downside. It's only a downside if you don't use it, right? So like anything, like night vision, expensive stuff, but if you're not out and training with it or using it, what's the point of paying so much money for it, right? So same thing with thermal. If you're gonna have it, go out and use it. Go out and play with it. Go out and test fire some guns with it. You don't necessarily have to shoot at anything that's alive. You can heat up a steel target, or your targets that are out in the sun all day, will definitely retain the heat when it gets darker, and you'll see those targets glowing at night. Even during the day you can see them. You can see the temperature changes on a lot of different steel. So you can see that kind of the background of my range was warm and the steel was cold. So you can actually shoot at the cold steel there, and you can see the impacts on the dirt, and you could also see the impacts on the steel. It kind of like shrapnels out, which is pretty cool. So just seeing how everything is under thermal is awesome. The PARD Sphinx itself, I think it's awesome just because it's like a hybrid, right? So the other ones, they're just straight up, you put them on a rifle and that's all you can have them on. I guess you can have that big scope out and you kind of survey what you're looking at or kind of identify what's out there, but in reality you want a handheld device. But it's cool that you can also slap this onto a rifle and use it as an actual optic. I believe this unit, compared to other units that I've used, especially the other handheld unit that I've had, I think this one completely blows it out of the water. It was just a little small monocular that I had, and I just love the fact that I get a giant screen on here. So I think out of everything, I'd probably be using these PARD Sphinx a lot more because, again, I have my property and I want to just be able to see what the heck is out there. You know, I want to see what's around my property and also make sure there's nothing out there that's going to potentially do any harm to me or my loved ones, right? As far as having this on a home defense or shit his defense scenario, I think it's really cool, but at the same time, I think it might have its limitations, especially with a big screen like this. You're running around and stuff like that. You might crack it or something like that. I did talk to PARD and see if they're going to make some type of screen protector, and they say they were looking into it. And then also in the daytime, if you are going to use this for any daytime activities, I guess, I would like to see a like sun shield over here. That's kind of my biggest issue that I was having when I was out there shooting in the daytime, is that it was hard to see anything out there just because the glare off the sun was super bright and I couldn't really see. So either make higher brightness settings for this thing or get like some type of sun shield for this thing. Overall, I think this is a awesome little unit. What do you guys think of the PARD Sphinx 640? The quality difference is significant comparing it to the 384. The resolution on this thing is absolutely nuts. I can, even during the day where you saw that video there, when I was in my backyard, I can see the detail on the stairs, my swing set, even my dog. It's just absolutely awesome and fun to have, and it's cool to see stuff that you can't normally see while you're out there at night or even during the day. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you all. Love you all. Catch you in the next one.